It was supposed to be just another empowering sit-down, a moment of reflection. A reunion of two powerful women whose infamous 2021 interview once shook the foundations of the British monarchy. But no one expected what happened next. Meghan Markle sat front row, glowing, confident, and proud of her journey as the Duchess of Sussex. Cameras rolled, lights beamed, and Oprah Winfrey, ever the queen of calm candor, leaned in with that signature poised smile. But then it happened. With just one sentence, Oprah flipped the entire vibe of the room, and Meghan's expression froze in disbelief. "So, do we still call you Duchess? Or is that more of a cosplay thing now?" she quipped, raising a perfectly arched brow. The audience laughed nervously. Meghan didn't. A hush fell across the set. Meghan's smile faltered, her fingers clenched the armrest, and behind her eyes, something shattered. Was this a betrayal, a calculated jab, or just Oprah being cheeky? Either way, the damage was done. Social media exploded within minutes. Oprah mocked Meghan on camera, trended across platforms as royal fans and Sussex supporters alike demanded answers. Comment sections turned into battlegrounds. Longtime friends of Meghan allegedly reached out in private to ask if she was okay. Some insiders say she stormed out right after the interview wrapped, but others whisper that she stayed behind and confronted Oprah face-to-face in a moment no one saw coming. Was this just an offhand joke, or is Oprah secretly distancing herself from Meghan's royal narrative? Why now? What really happened behind the scenes after the cameras stopped rolling? And what does it mean for the future of the Sussex brand? Stay right there, because what we uncovered next will blow your mind. From whispered backroom conversations to Meghan's emotional reaction behind closed doors, this isn't just a story, it's a royal drama reboot, and everyone is taking sides. Keep watching, because the truth behind Oprah's Duchess jab is far darker, far deeper, and far more personal than anyone expected. She had walked onto that soundstage with confidence. Meghan Markle, dressed in a sleek, cream-colored silk blouse and wide-legged trousers that spoke elegance without trying too hard, had entered Oprah's garden studio with the kind of grace you only acquire after years of navigating the treacherous waters of royalty, tabloids, and global scrutiny. The vibe was relaxed, or at least it was meant to be. Birds chirped faintly in the background. Crew members whispered softly to one another, moving around like ghosts behind the camera. This was supposed to be a friendly follow-up, a catch-up interview to discuss her children, her charity work, her lifestyle brand about to launch, and, of course, her ongoing battle with the institution she once called home. What she didn't expect was that the woman who once offered her a platform to finally tell her truth would be the one to twist the knife, so effortlessly, so casually, and in front of millions. It started with laughter, that soft chuckle Oprah gives when she's about to slide into something bold, a little sassy. "You've really settled into the California sunshine," she began, smiling warmly. Meghan smiled back, responding with grace. "Feels good to breathe free air." Then came the jab, light, subtle, yet laced with something heavier. "So tell me," Oprah said, tilting her head slightly, "do you still go by Duchess? Or is that title just part of your brand aesthetic now?" A beat. The room stilled. Meghan blinked, caught off guard. "Excuse me," she asked, trying to keep her composure, but the tightness in her jaw betrayed her. It wasn't just the words, it was the delivery. A passive-aggressive, performative curiosity that made it clear to everyone watching that Oprah wasn't asking as a friend. She was making a statement. Meghan gave a forced smile, her voice tightening. "It's part of who I am," she replied evenly. "It's my husband's heritage, my children's. Why wouldn't I honor it?" But the air had already shifted. The warmth that had filled the space now curdled into something colder. Oprah leaned back, raising her eyebrows with a knowing smirk, and the cameras kept rolling. Behind the scenes, crew members exchanged uneasy glances. One insider later revealed that Meghan had asked during pre-production for the title not to be a focus of the conversation. She was very clear, the source said. She wanted the interview to be about her work, her family, her projects. She didn't want to rehash the royal drama not like this, but apparently Oprah had other plans. Another crew member overheard the producers encouraging Oprah to dig a little, especially around the royalty stuff, since that's what sells. And Oprah, ever the queen of the moment, obliged Meghan tried to recover. She shifted the conversation toward her upcoming foundation launch, something about wellness for mothers and marginalized women. But the sparkle in her eyes had dimmed. Her voice cracked slightly when discussing her daughter, Lilibet, and fans later speculated that it wasn't just emotion, it was hurt, betrayal, because Oprah was not just a talk show host to her. Oprah had been a confidant, a mentor, someone she had invited to her wedding, someone she had trusted with her pain, her secrets, her trauma. As the segment ended and the crew took a break, Meghan reportedly stood up, walked over to a corner of the set, and pulled out her phone. Witnesses say she was texting furiously. Some believed she messaged Harry. Others thought she was contacting her publicist. Her face was flushed, eyes glassy. Meanwhile, Oprah remained seated, chatting casually with her producers, occasionally glancing over in Meghan's direction. "You okay?" someone asked Meghan quietly. She nodded, muttering, "Yeah, just needed a second." But it wasn't just a second. Sources close to the production say Meghan retreated to her private trailer for over 20 minutes, during which time Oprah was approached by Gayle King, who had dropped by to visit the set. Their conversation, according to lip readers and overheard whispers, was not friendly. Gayle reportedly said, "You went too far," to which Oprah replied, "She knows the game. She just didn't expect me to play." That one sentence would later ignite a frenzy on social media. When Meghan returned to set, she was composed but distant. She kept her responses short, smiled politely, but the emotional warmth had evaporated. Oprah tried to soften things up with lighthearted questions, but the damage had been done. Fans watching the livestream said they felt the tension through the screen. One viewer wrote, "It's like watching a breakup in real time, but they're both pretending nothing happened." And then came the unexpected twist. Meghan, unprompted, brought the title back up. "I find it interesting," she said suddenly, looking straight into the camera, "how some people want to weaponize the very thing they once uplifted. A title doesn't define me, but respect does. And I've earned mine." Oprah sat still, her smile frozen. You could hear a pin drop. The moment quickly cut to commercial, and in that instant, the internet exploded. Hashtag Meghan Strikes Back began trending. Royal defenders called her manipulative, while Sussex fans praised her bravery. But behind the scenes, another storm was brewing because Prince Harry was watching live, and he was not pleased. Reports later claimed that Harry, upon hearing Oprah's remark and seeing Meghan's reaction, immediately canceled a scheduled call with the Netflix executive and demanded to speak to Oprah himself. "You don't get to humiliate my wife for ratings," he allegedly told a close friend. "We gave her everything. Now she treats us like content." The palace, meanwhile, remained silent, not for long. An anonymous source within Buckingham Palace allegedly told a UK tabloid that the Queen had always doubted Oprah's intentions and that this incident vindicated her suspicions. Whether true or not, the implication was clear. This was no longer just about Meghan and Oprah. This was turning into a multi-layered, international fallout. And the timing couldn't have been worse. Meghan's lifestyle brand was days away from launching. Invitations had already been sent to top influencers and celebrities, including, ironically, Oprah herself. But as the clip of Oprah's cosplay comment went viral, several influencers started pulling out. "I don't want to be associated with this drama," one beauty mogul tweeted. "It's giving mean girl energy. Girl energy." Others doubled down in support, defending Meghan and slamming Oprah for publicly shaming a friend. What nobody expected, however, was the next move, because just as the cameras rolled again and Oprah attempted to wrap up the interview, With a rehearsed sense of poise, Meghan paused, looked directly at Oprah, and said something that no one on set or watching at home was prepared for. "You know, Oprah," Meghan began, her voice calm but ice-threaded. "When I sat here with you 3 years ago, I felt safe. I felt heard. I shared things with you I hadn't even told my own family. But today..." She trailed off for a moment, glancing away as her throat visibly tightened. "Today, I don't feel like I'm sitting across from someone I trust. I feel like I'm sitting across from someone who sold me a spotlight and just cashed the check." The silence on set was deafening. Oprah blinked, her seasoned composure cracking just slightly as her mouth opened, but no words came out. A crew member could be heard fumbling with a mic cable. Someone coughed nervously in the distance. And the camera, thankfully still rolling, caught every second of Oprah's stunned reaction. "Meghan," Oprah finally said, her voice dipping into that serious register she used when confronting tough interview moments. "If you feel disrespected, that was never my intention. But we also both know this world. It spins on honesty, or at least the illusion of it." Meghan's gaze was unblinking. "And illusions are your specialty, aren't they?" She said flatly. That line, that single, razor-sharp line ignited. And Inferno viewers couldn't believe it. Was Meghan calling out Oprah Winfrey the media queen, the woman who gave her one of the most watched interviews in modern history? Within minutes of the clip airing, the internet fractured. Half of Twitter stood behind Meghan, calling her brave for confronting the media machine, while the other half accused her of turning on the very person who had helped revive her public image. The hashtags #OprahBetrayedMeghan and #MeghanUngrateful began trending simultaneously. Back on set, Oprah looked genuinely hurt. "I thought we were beyond the headlines," she said softly. "I thought we had a real relationship." But Meghan didn't flinch. "I thought so too," she replied, "until today." And then, without another word, she stood. The camera awkwardly followed her as she stepped off the patio platform, heels clicking against the flagstones, until she disappeared into the direction of her trailer. Producers scrambled. One chased after her, headset half falling off, while Oprah remained frozen in her seat, clearly trying to process what had just occurred. It wasn't scripted, it wasn't polished, it wasn't planned, and that made it even more devastating. From inside her trailer, Meghan reportedly broke down. According to an assistant who later spoke anonymously to a lifestyle blogger, Meghan was sobbing uncontrollably. She kept saying, "I can't believe she humiliated me." Not her, anyone but her, Harry, who was watching from home with their son Archie, allegedly tried calling her, but Meghan refused to pick up any calls for nearly an hour. The assistant claimed Meghan was pacing, ripping off her earrings, and at one point even threw her phone across the room. She felt like her final safe space was gone, the source said. This wasn't the British press. This was Oprah. Meanwhile, back on set, Oprah's team was in chaos. Some producers were in full damage control mode, already drafting potential press statements and internal memos. Others were arguing about whether to cut the scene or leave it raw. "If we air it," one exec reportedly said, "it's ratings gold, but it could destroy Oprah's credibility." Another producer allegedly countered, "The world loves drama. If we cut it, they'll say we're hiding the truth. If we air it, they'll say we exploited it." Either way, it's going viral, and viral it did go. The leaked footage made it onto social media just hours later, allegedly through an anonymous crew member who filmed it with a hidden phone. By midnight, millions had seen Meghan's walk off. Fans created side-by-side breakdowns of her facial expressions. Body language analysts weighed in on every eyebrow twitch, and media personalities from both the UK and US began taking sides. Piers Morgan practically foamed at the mouth on his evening show, crowing, "Even Oprah's had enough of Meghan's diva antics." While Whoopi Goldberg, defending Meghan, called the moment a painful example of how Black women's trauma is trivialized even by other powerful women. But the most shocking reaction came from someone who had remained eerily silent through most of Meghan's public drama. Tyler Perry, the Hollywood heavyweight, who had once offered Meghan and Harry his private home during their royal exit, took to Instagram Live and said, "Sometimes we think people are for us because they clap when we win. But it's when we're vulnerable. That's when you see who's really in your corner." I saw what Oprah said, and I'm disappointed. Oprah did not immediately respond. Behind the scenes, though, things were unraveling. Meghan canceled her next to public appearances. Her brand's Instagram account posted a vague message about protecting your peace, and one post even hinted at betrayal. Not everyone smiling at you is your friend. Some just want a closer view when you fall. Meanwhile, publicists began speculating whether the fallout would affect her deals with Netflix and Spotify. Insiders whispered that Meghan was demanding final edit approval on all future interviews. Demand few media empires were willing to grant, and yet, the drama wasn't done. Because the next morning, Oprah's team leaked a statement to the press. It was subtle, professional, cold. It read, "The Oprah Winfrey Network maintains its integrity through candid and honest conversations. We regret any discomfort felt during our recent taping, but we stand by our journalistic responsibility to ask the hard questions even of our friends." That single sentence, "even of our friends," struck like a dart. Meghan reportedly viewed the statement while still in bed, then turned to Harry and said she chose the cameras, not Emmy. And if that wasn't enough to keep fans on edge, what happened 3 hours later sent the entire saga into a full-blown media earthquake. A scheduled press conference for Meghan's new wellness line was quietly canceled, but an unscheduled impromptu livestream suddenly appeared on her brand's YouTube channel. In it, Meghan appeared alone, no stylists, no glam. Just her, seated at a plain desk, her hair tied back, her expression raw. "You all saw it," she began. "I don't need to explain what happened, but I will say the Saivs survived worse. And I'm not going anywhere." She paused. "And if anyone's still wondering whether I deserve to be called Duchess, maybe ask yourself why that question matters more than how we treat each other. Especially when the cameras are off." That video hit 10 million views in 5 hours. But what no one expected, what absolutely no one predicted, was Oprah's next move. And it was something that even left Meghan speechless. Because while Meghan's raw livestream painted a picture of a woman deeply hurt but resilient, Oprah wasn't done telling her side. Less than 24 hours later, Oprah dropped her own surprise, an unannounced segment on her OWN network titled Behind the Lens, The Meghan Moment. It was framed as a behind-the-scenes discussion about journalistic integrity, but everyone knew exactly what it was: a response, and a sharp one at that. Oprah sat in a dimly lit studio, no audience, just her and the camera. Her tone was calm, measured, but laced with that unmistakable edge, the tone of a woman who'd been accused, misinterpreted, and wasn't about to let someone else write the narrative for her. "When I ask questions," she said, looking straight into the lens, "I ask as a journalist. Not as a best friend, not as a fan, and not as someone trying to protect anyone's feelings. That's not my job." Then came the kicker. And if titles matter more than truth to someone, then maybe that's a title they were never ready to wear. The backlash was instant. Meghan's supporters were furious. Twitter turned into a war zone of opinion threads, fan edits, emotional breakdowns, and think pieces. Oprah, once considered Meghan's media guardian angel, was now being labeled a traitor in heels. People dug up old footage, old quotes, trying to. And then, in what fans called a chess move, Meghan's next project was announced: a full-length documentary titled Silenced by the Sisterhood. The description, a film about how women are celebrated for their strength until that strength threatens the ones who put them on stage. Though no names were listed in the official release, the world knew exactly who it was aimed at. Oprah had officially become the villain in Meghan's next act. But Oprah didn't stay quiet for long. At a close to her TED-style conference in New York, footage leaked of her giving a talk titled The Cost of Truth. In it, Oprah said, "There's a difference between telling your story and selling your story. And I've spent my life trying to give people a platform, not a stage for revenge." While she didn't mention Meghan by name, the implication was clear and it struck a nerve. Because Meghan responded in real time on Instagram Live. Yes, she said to her 42 million followers, "Some of us tell our stories. Others edit them into something palatable, sanitized, profitable. I didn't come to play that game." The feud was no longer just personal. It had become ideological, too. Powerful women. One with decades of cultural currency, the other with a global spotlight and nothing left to lose. But then, something even more unexpected happened. Harry broke his silence. In a joint appearance on a mental health panel in San Francisco, he was asked indirectly about the fallout between his wife and Oprah. For a moment, he hesitated. Then he said, "Sometimes, people you once thought were allies turn out to be just another kind of royalty, one that demands loyalty over truth." Meghan, sitting beside him, touched his arm. Harry looked down, and just like that, the story twisted again. Because Oprah, who had once claimed to love and support Harry like a son, now stood accused by some of manipulating both him and Meghan for viewership, legacy, and power. Her publicist denied these claims, calling them dangerous fiction. But the damage had already sunk in. Online think pieces began dissecting Oprah's empire through a new lens. Was Oprah always this ruthless? One headline read. Or did Meghan just finally say the quiet part out loud? The cracks in the legacy were beginning to show. And then came the final blow. Weeks after the media frenzy had peaked, Meghan's legal team leaked a letter allegedly written by her to Oprah. It was dated 3 days after the controversial interview, handwritten on embossed stationery, and began with the words, "You hurt me in ways I didn't see coming." The letter continued for 4 pages, each one more heartbreaking than the last. "You were my sanctuary," she wrote, "but that day, you became another headline machine." The authenticity of the letter was debated. Oprah's team refused to confirm it, but they didn't deny it either. Meghan's camp remained silent. But the letter had done its work. It showed Meghan not as a strategist or a social climber, but as a woman crushed by betrayal from someone she once called family. Fans were gutted. Even skeptics felt a twinge of sympathy. And somewhere in a Montecito estate, Meghan sat alone by the window, watching the waves crash below. The cameras had stopped. The headlines had faded slightly. But her war with Oprah, the woman who had once lifted her voice, only to, in her view, try and mute it, had changed everything. And as the screen faded to black on that chapter of drama, one thing became undeniably clear. This wasn't just about titles, or interviews, or brand power. This was a story of two queens, one crowned by television, the other by circumstance, colliding in a kingdom built on perception. And the world had chosen to watch every painful, electrifying second, and as the world kept watching, neither woman blinked first. Weeks passed, headlines mutated. Commentators exhausted every angle. And yet, even with the fury settling into a slow burn, the aftershocks refused to die. Because just when it seemed like the Meghan versus Oprah saga was finally cooling, a single sentence reignited the storm, and this time, it came from an unexpected voice. Doria Ragland, yes, Meghan's fiercely private mother. Appearing briefly during a wellness panel in Santa Barbara, Doria was asked a question meant to be lighthearted. Who inspires you the most right now? But her response sent shockwaves through media outlets worldwide. My daughter. She said she's endured a lot, especially from those she once called sisters. No one missed the meaning of that word. Sisters, the Oprah sisterhood. The very sisterhood Meghan had claimed, then been allegedly silenced by. And with that one word, Doria breathed new oxygen into a scandal the world couldn't stop obsessing over. Journalists dissected her tone. Analysts broke down her expression. Oprah's team, Blindsided, released a statement less than 24 hours later. "We hold nothing but love and respect for Doria and her daughter." But it sounded too clean, too PR, too late. Because Meghan was already making her next move. While Oprah's camp tried to regain footing, Meghan announced she'd be sitting down for a global town hall event, a multi-network, multi-country simulcast called Voiceless No More. It promised to amplify stories of women who were lifted up only to be weaponized when they no longer served a purpose. Viewers immediately dubbed it Meghan's Clapback Summit, and RSVP requests poured in from every continent. Oprah, she wasn't invited, but that wasn't the end. In a private email leak allegedly from a member of Oprah's OW and team, a thread was discovered titled "Damage Control, Sussex Fallout." The emails, though unverified, contained panicked commentary from producers about the long-term impact of the feud. One line read, "We may lose access to Gen Z entirely if we go against Meghan too hard." Another, more cryptic message simply stated, "Gayle is wavering." That last line made waves. Was Gayle King Oprah's most trusted confidant pulling away? Fans began noticing that she hadn't appeared in Oprah's recent OW and specials, and more importantly, she had been liking Instagram posts from Meghan fan pages. A digital betrayal, maybe, but in the modern age of celebrity war, even a like can spark infernos. Meanwhile, Harry, torn and tired, tried to play peacemaker. He reached out to Oprah privately, according to a source close to the couple. His message was simple: "Can we find a way back?" Oprah never replied directly, but she did something. That said everything. She unfollowed both Harry and Meghan on all public social media platforms. It was the final nail in the friendship's coffin. And then came the betrayal no one expected. Netflix, the very platform that hosted the Sussex documentary and catapulted their version of the royal escape into international consciousness, released a teaser for a new documentary produced by Oprah herself. Its title, "The Other Side of the Crown." The logline: "For every fairy tale, there's a footnote. Here's the part you didn't see." The trailer featured B-roll from royal events, brief clips of Harry's younger days, and most notably a 5-second shot of Oprah closing a notebook and whispering, "Not all truths fit the narrative." Fans went ballistic. Was Oprah about to air her version of events? Was she about to out Meghan in her most vulnerable moments? And most alarmingly, did she own rights to unreleased footage? From their first historic interview, legal teams jumped into action. Meghan's lawyers filed an injunction request with the California court system within 48 hours of the trailer's release. In it, they demanded full disclosure of what footage Oprah's production intended to use and whether Meghan's image and likeness were being commercially exploited without consent. The court documents were sealed at Meghan's request, but the media frenzy that followed was uncontainable. Public opinion splintered. Some believed Meghan had gone too far, dragging a once sacred friendship into tabloid territory for personal gain. Others argued Oprah had become the very gatekeeper of narratives she once claimed to dismantle. What remained clear was that their rivalry had transcended celebrity gossip. It had become something bigger, a cautionary tale about power, media, and the high cost of sisterhood under a global spotlight. But the most stunning moment, Meghan's final chess move. Just hours before Oprah's documentary was set to premiere, Meghan uploaded a raw, unfiltered 90-second clip to her brand's platform. No makeup, no lighting. Just a phone camera and Meghan's voice. "I want my daughter to know that when someone tries to shame you into silence, you don't shrink, you don't hide, you speak louder, you speak clearer, and you look them in the eye." The clip ended. Black screen, no music, just silence. That silence was louder than any headline. And the world, still watching, still divided, still captivated. Because in this battle between two women, two icons, there would be no neat resolution, no apologies, no perfect truth, just echoes of friendship turned warfare, support turned spectacle, and titles that now meant less than trust. And somewhere in Montecito, And somewhere in Santa Barbara, behind closed gates and drawn curtains, Meghan and Oprah lived on forever altered, forever remembered, not just as Duchess and media queen, but as symbols of something deeper, something broken, something very human. And with every passing day, one question still lingers in the air, unanswered, almost whispered by the drama itself. Who betrayed who first? And that, dear viewers, is where the curtain falls, at least for now. What began as a single awkward jab during a friendly sit-down interview spiraled into one of the most sensational public fallouts in modern celebrity history. Meghan Markle and Oprah Winfrey, once the picture of sisterhood, mutual respect, and empowerment, now stand on opposite sides of a war neither of them likely expected to become so personal, so public, and so permanent. From cryptic quotes and explosive live streams to legal filings and social media betrayals, what we've witnessed isn't just a celebrity rift. It's a full-blown media civil war with royalty revenge and ruined trust at its core. Fans remain divided. Some say Oprah simply did her job. Others argue Meghan was ambushed and unfairly reduced to ratings fodder. And while each woman commands her own army of supporters, one truth is undeniable. Something beautiful was broken, and millions of people around the world watched it happen frame by frame, headline by headline. So now we turn the question over to you. Was Meghan right to fight back so publicly? Did Oprah go too far in her pursuit of the truth? Or were both women simply victims of a system that thrives on spectacle and devours authenticity? Let us know in the comments below. We're reading everything. Whose side are you on, Team Meghan or Team Oprah? Or do you believe the truth lies somewhere in between? And if you're as captivated by this ongoing drama as we are, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more jaw-dropping Hollywood conflicts, and smash that notification bell so you never miss the next scandalous twist, because in the world of the rich, the royal, and the televised, no relationship stays sacred for long. See you in the next one.